July 26th, Friday. The train trip from St. Paul to Winnipeg was about 600 miles. The party boarded what was the St. Paul, Minneapolis and Manitoba line. It became part of the Great Northern Railway. Departing St. Paul, the route passed through St. Cloud, Sauk Centre, Osakis, Alexandria, Fergus Falls, Barnesville, Glendon, Croxton, Grand Forks, and crossed the border at Nietzsche. It continued on from Gretna to Winnipeg aboard the Canadian Pacific Railway. They were bound for Mud City, as Canada's rapidly growing seventh largest metropolis was affectionately known. 22 years after its incorporation and some 18 years before the extensive paving programs would compel its detractors to call it Winnipeg instead. Winnipeg and its environs in 1895 had a population of perhaps 38,000 people. The Clemens party arrived in Winnipeg, Manitoba, a little after noon. J.B. Pond's diary. We have had a most charming ride through North Dakota and southeastern Manitoba. It seems as if everything along the route must have been put in order for our reception. The flat, wild prairies, uninhabited in 1883, are all now under cultivation. There are fine farmhouses, barns, and vast fields of wheat, oceans of wheat, as Marx said, as far as eye can reach in all directions, waving like the ocean waves, and so flat. Mr. Beecher remarked to his wife when riding through here in 1883, "Mother, you couldn't flatter this country." Twain is reported to have said, "This country of yours out here astonished me beyond all imagination. Never in my life have I seen such fields of grain extending in all directions to the horizon. The country appears to me to be as if it were a mighty ocean. My conception of it is the same as that of a man who has never seen the ocean before. He sees nothing but water as far as eye can reach. Here I see nothing but oceans of wheat fields. Why, it is simply miraculous." They took rooms at the Manitoba Hotel. Sam gave 2 evening performances, July 26th and 27th, in Selkirk Hall, Winnipeg. J.B. Pond wrote, "We had a splendid audience. Mark and I were entertained at the famous Manitoba Club after the lecture, a club of the leading men of Winnipeg. We did not stay out very late, as Mark feared Mrs. Clemens would not retire until he came, and he was quite anxious for her to rest, as the long night journey in the cars had been very fatiguing. On our arrival at the hotel, we heard singing and the sound of revelry in the parlors. A party of young gentlemen of the lecture committee had escorted Our Ladies home. They were fine singers, and, with Miss Clara Clemens at the piano, a concert was in progress that we all enjoyed another hour." Saturday, the 27th, we all put down as the pleasantest day thus far. Several young English gentlemen who had staked fortunes in this Northwest in wheat ranches and other enterprises brought out their tandems and traps and drove the ladies about the country. They saw the largest herd of wild buffalo that now exists in a large enclosure. They were driven to various interesting suburban sites, of which there are more than one would believe could exist in this far northwest new city. Bouquets and banks of flowers of such beautiful colors were sent in. Many ladies called, and all in all, it has been an ovation. Mark, as is his custom, did not get up until time to go to the lecture hall, but he was happy. Several journalists called, who he told me were the best informed and most scholarly lot of editors he had found anywhere, and I think he was correct. There was another large crowd at the lecture, and another and final reception at the famous Manitoba Club. We were home at 12, and all so happy we're on the road to happiness surely. July 27th, Saturday. In the evening, Sam gave his number 2 lecture, his second performance in Winnipeg, which ran 35 minutes longer than intended. After 90 minutes, he offered to let the audience go, but cries of "Go on" induced him to finish. Although Twain complains in his letters of the sweltering heat his party and audiences had to endure during the central portion of the North American tour, the temperatures in Winnipeg were moderate. For example, on July 26th, the high for the day occurred at 5 p.m., 71 degrees Fahrenheit. The reading dropped by 4 degrees by curtain time that evening, although the high for that week was 78.6. This was recorded on the Thursday. July 28th, Sunday, Sam was interviewed by a traveling correspondent who had authored a book of poetry earlier in the year. A bright girl, part Indian, with French name, Marie-Josée, correspondent of Toronto Globe. She had been a factory girl and was president of a combine of 500 working girls who appealed to the electric car company for a Sunday car service. The year before that, the pulpits had pulled in 5,000 majority against it. The 500 girls reduced that to a 750 majority 2 years ago. The pulpit got the next struggle put off 3 years. It occurs a year hence, then the thing will be carried the other way. Toronto is 12 miles long, one way, within the city limits. The poor live at one end and work at the other, and not a car on Sunday. These families are as exiled as if the Atlantic flowed between them, but as long as God and the clergy are gratified, what of it? The party departed Winnipeg at about 1:20 in the afternoon.